Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something pretty fascinating, this comeback of Bitcoin faucets.
Yeah, it's a bit of a blast from the past, isn't it? Seeing them pop up again.
Definitely. So we've got basically two main things guiding us. News about Charlie Shrem launching a new faucet website, and then these pretty eye-opening reports about Bitcoin ETF activity.
Right, the contrast is kind of the whole point here.
Exactly. Our mission today is to figure out, why faucets were a thing, why they faded out, and why someone like Shrem is trying to bring them back now, especially with all this institutional money flooding in through ETFs.
It's a really compelling juxtaposition. You've got these huge financial players buying Bitcoin hand over fist, and then this almost quaint grassroots idea making a return.
So maybe we should start with the man himself, Charlie Shrem. Why is his name attached to this? What's his story?
Okay, yeah. Charlie Shrem well, he was a really big deal in the very early Bitcoin days. He co-founded BitInstant back in 2011.
BitInstant, right. They were huge for a while.
Huge. At their peak, they were supposedly handling something like 30% of all Bitcoin transactions globally. Mostly buying from Mt. Gox, the big exchange then, and selling it on quickly.
Wow, 30%. That's massive.
It really was. He also helped start the Bitcoin Foundation in 2012, which aimed to, promote Bitcoin.
So a real pioneer. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for him, was it?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
In 2014, he ran into legal trouble connected to BitInstant, allegations involving the Silk Road marketplace and money laundering.
Great. I remember that.
Yeah, he eventually pleaded guilty to a lesser charge, served about a year. But he's stayed in the crypto space since then. He's involved with Crypto IQ, Drew Adventures, has his own podcast.
The Charlie Shrem Show, yeah. And there was that dispute with the Winklevoss twins, too.
That's right, though that was settled later. So he's definitely had a, let's say, eventful journey in crypto.
Okay, so that sets the stage for who is doing this. Now let's talk about the what. Bitcoin faucets. For anyone listening who hasn't heard the term, what are we actually talking about?
Right, simply put, a Bitcoin faucet is just a website that gives away tiny, tiny amounts of Bitcoin. We're talking Satoshis. Basically the cents to Bitcoin's dollar.
And you get these.
Oh. Usually for doing really simple online tasks, the classic one is solving a KPTCHA, typing those weird squiggly letters to prove you're human.
Ah, those things. Okay. So why were these little giveaways important back in the day?
Well, this is where it gets pretty wild. The very first one was started by Gavin Andresen, another key early Bitcoin developer back in 2010, and the impact was huge.
How huge?
Over its lifetime, Andresen's faucet gave away 19,700 Bitcoin.
Wait, 19,700 Bitcoin?
Yep, 19,700. At today's prices, well, the source puts it around $1.86 billion worth given away.
That's absolutely mind-blowing. Just given away for KPCS.
Pretty much. And back then, you could actually earn a decent chunk. The reports say users could get up to 5 Bitcoin per day.
5 Bitcoin a day.
I know, right? Think about it. It gave people a real reason to check out this weird new internet money. It was educational. You got some free Bitcoin, which pushed you to, set up a wallet, figure out how to send and receive it.
So it kind of kickstarted the network effect, got people actually using Bitcoin?
Exactly. It lowered the barrier to entry. No need to buy it initially, just try it out. Super important for early adoption.
Makes sense, like free samples to get people hooked. But obviously that model didn't last forever. Why did most faucets dry up?
Two main reasons really working together. First, the price of Bitcoin started going up and up. So suddenly, even those tiny fractions became expensive for the faucet owners to give away.
Right, the costs exploded.
And second, as the network got busier, transaction fees went up too. Sometimes the fee to actually send the tiny amount of Bitcoin from the faucet to your wallet cost more than the Bitcoin itself.
Ah, okay, so the economics just completely fell apart.
Pretty much. The model just wasn't sustainable anymore. Some sites like freebitco.in hung around for a bit, maybe 2011 to 2013-ish. But yeah, most faded away.
Which brings us back to Charlie Shrem and 21million.com. He's trying to bring this model back. What does his site look like?
Well, according to the article, when it launched, it looked a lot like Andresen's original page. Very simple. A KPTCHA image, a spot to put your Bitcoin address.
Okay, but could you actually get Bitcoin from it?
Not yet, it seems. The claiming function wasn't active when the article came out. And maybe more importantly, the site showed a balance of 0 Bitcoin available.
0. Okay, so more like a proof of concept or an announcement at this stage.
Seems that way, yeah. More signaling intent.
Did Shrem say why he was doing it?
His explanation was pretty straightforward. He said he wants Bitcoin to succeed and thought this Little service could help beginners get a small amount to start.
Okay, a nod to the old days. And you mentioned something about how he built it. Vibe coding?
Yeah, that's an interesting term. Vibe coding. From what we gather, it means using AI, basically. You don't write all the code yourself line by line.
How does it work then?
It's sort of guide the AI. You use natural language prompts, describe the vibe or the goal you want, and the AI generates the code. It's a more, maybe, intuitive AI-assisted approach.
Huh. Definitely different from how Anderson would have built the first faucet back in 2010.
Worlds apart, yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears completely now. While Shrem is doing this micro-level thing, the macro picture is dominated by these massive Bitcoin ETFs in the U.S. What's happening there?
The scale is just, wow. In the last week mentioned in our sources, U.S. Bitcoin ETFs bought 18,644 Bitcoin.
18,600.
Okay.
And how much was mined in that same time?
Only about 3,150 Bitcoin.
So the ETFs bought almost 6 times the new supply.
Exactly. That's the level of demand pressure coming from just that one sector. It's huge.
Where's all that money coming from?
Massive inflows into the funds.
Yeah.
BlackRock's IBIC's a big one. It's been leading the pack. Saw nearly $2.5 billion flow in over just 5 days at one point. Didn't have a single day of outflows for a long stretch.
So serious appetite from, I guess, institutional investors. Or maybe retail through these familiar channels.
Likely both. It shows Bitcoin is being accessed through these, regulated traditional finance products now.
So we have this tiny faucet potentially giving away fractions of a cent, and then these giant ETFs sucking up billions of dollars worth. They feel like completely different universes.
They really do. And what's interesting, according to one analyst, is that these ETFs are doing this well despite facing hurdles.
Hurdles like what?
Like major wealth platforms, still restricting advisors from recommending them, or even blocking access sometimes. The suggestion is, if those barriers come down,
The inflows could get even bigger.
potentially, yeah. And we're seeing moves for other crypto ETFs too, like Litecoin, and lots of applications waiting in the wings.
Okay, let's try and tie this together. Why? Why bring back faucets now in this environment? With Bitcoin being treated like digital gold by huge institutions, is Shrem just being nostalgic?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the Satoshi question here. Bitcoin today is so different from 2010. Awareness is high. It's a massive asset class. Faucets aren't really needed as that first entry point in the same way.
So what else could it be?
Well, maybe it is partly nostalgia, wanting to bring back that early vibe of discovery. Or, knowing Shrem's background, maybe it's strategic.
Strategic how?
Could it drive traffic to his other stuff? Podcast, advisory? Is there some angle around collecting user data? Maybe. Or perhaps using vibe coding is just him experimenting with new tech.
So maybe not just about giving away tiny bits of Bitcoin.
It feels unlikely to be purely sentimental, given his history, but the exact goal isn't totally clear from what we have. It could be a mix of things.
It really highlights the different ways people interact with Bitcoin now. Okay, quick summary then. Faucets, super important early on for adoption, giving away small amounts, became uneconomical as Bitcoin grew. Now, Charlie Shrem, an early pioneer, is trying to revive the idea with modern tools like AI coding.
Right. And this is happening at the exact same time that giant financial institutions are buying Bitcoin on a massive scale through ETFs.
The micro meets the macro.
Precisely.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, listening. With all this huge institutional money pouring into Bitcoin, what place, if any, do things like faucets have today? Is it just a nod to the past, a real attempt at wider grassroots distribution, or something else entirely in Bitcoin's world right now? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.